Lucy, to tell you what is the menu of the podcast today. We are together for 1 hour, and I know
Okay.
you have so many things to share with us. So, first of all, I really want to understand um, how is the state of the market of accounting. You will see, I have really difficulties to say accounting. Uh,
Accounting, yeah.
Counting. I have a teacher who told me every day, like, okay, say accounting. So what is the current state of the accounting market in the UK? I really interesting about Mazuma and how you create the new business model, and
Sure.
what was your challenge, what is your new challenge, etc.
Yeah.
What are your vision and your project right now? And
Yeah.
last year at Accountex 2024, I saw your conference about the state of the profession,
Yeah.
and it was like, okay, we have the same issue in France.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And that resonate for me. I have two daughters, so it resonates more right now,
Okay.
and that's why I want to discuss about it too today with you.
Okay. Yeah, that all sounds great. I'm like, where would you like to start?
Maybe first of all, you can you can introduce yourself for those who don't know you yet. It's not easy for me.
Okay, so, well, thank you. First of all, thank you, Alexis, so much for having me on here and for interviewing me in English, which is my first language, your second. French is my second language, and your English is definitely much, much better than my French. So this will go a lot better in English. So thank you for that. Um, yeah, so I'm Lucy Cohen. I'm one of the founders of and CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Mazuma, and Mazuma were founded in 2006 in the UK.
Mm.
We were the first ever subscription-based accounting service that existed, which doesn't sound particularly impressive now, but back in 2006, that was a really big deal because the profession, the industry, has been very slow to change. It's been a very slow process, and if you work with accountants, you know that they are maybe. I am one myself. Maybe not the people that love change as much as, say, I don't know, like the tech industry and things like that. So we founded in 2006, and it started from my spare bedroom in my house,
Yeah.
and it was just myself and my business partner, and we've grown from there over the last 18 years. We are now the largest female founded accounting firm in UK history,
Mm.
which sounds fantastic, but actually that bar is very low. So it's, as you saw at my talk at Accountex last year,
Yeah.
we should have more successful female
Yeah.
business owners, and we don't have that. Um, yeah, and we, over the last 18 years, have grown. We've now developed our own technology platform, which is what we run most of our operations off, which means that we are able to harness the efficiency of technology, which lots of firms find difficult to do because they take technology from lots of different vendors and kind of stack it
Yeah.
together to make a tech stack. We call it in the UK a tech stack,
Yeah.
and that's often quite clunky. You're relying on third-party vendors to integrate everything together for the integration,
Mm.
and it means you don't have control of your cost as
Yeah.
well, of how much all that costs. So we took the decision to take investment. We took inward investment of money to develop our own technology platform, and that is what we have been doing. That's what I've been doing since I saw you last, Alexis.
Oh,
We've been
okay.
doing that, yeah.
So you create like your own tech stack.
Technology.
You,
Yeah,
you don't
technology.
use anymore like a Xero or oh wow,
No,
okay.
no,
Bold
yeah.
move.
Yeah, bold move. So we've built everything from client onboarding through to anti-money laundering, through to payments, through to general ledger and filing at HMRC. So yeah, we built the whole thing.
Wow, really interesting, because when I was at Accountex first time, I was blown my mind by the number of vendors, the numbers of, and in France it's not the same. We have like a big tech,
Yeah,
6 or 7 big, and then
yeah,
many small tech stack,
yeah,
tech vendors you need in your accounting firm. But when I was at Accountex, it was bigger than us. And when I discussed with you the first time, or with other accountant, they told me, okay, we pick Zero, we pick free
yeah.
tech, and we bundle it, and we have our tech stack. And now you tell me that you create your own what is the word? Yeah, your own tools.
Yeah, own technology, own tools. Yeah. So yes, and the reason behind that, the rationale,
Yeah.
is that we wanted control over how it worked. We work at very high numbers, very high volumes. We have to work very quickly, and so we were finding that kind of adding lots of different technologies together just wasn't
Mm,
working for us.
yeah.
But that is a huge undertaking to do
Yeah.
that. That is an absolutely huge thing. It costs a lot of money. We took money in to do that, and we took a risk. We took the
Yeah.
risk to build that, and we're now testing that it works in our own client base, because we serve, back to, I suppose, your kind of original question at the top of this.
Mm,
We serve very small businesses. The businesses we um, serve are very, very little, and they are not good at technology. They are
mm.
often not very organized. They are, we'd call them in the UK scrappy. So
Yeah.
they're just going around kind of doing what they do, and not really thinking about finance, because they are a plumber or a
Mm,
hairdresser or whatever. They're not thinking about finance in the same way a more established larger business would.
yeah.
So those are our customers, those are our clients. So we needed to build something that would work for them, rather than having something that worked for us and trying to make them fit into that. So that is what we're doing and what we're testing at the moment, with our own client base, to see, will it make us more efficient? Does it make us quicker? Is the work just as accurate as in other systems? So yeah, that is what we are doing at the moment.
Wow. And do you plan to sell your tool to other accountants?
Not at the moment.
Yeah.
For now, this is for us to be able to use internally, and
Mm,
the return on the investment of the money for it, we'll see kind of return over a number of years.
yeah.
But in the UK market, with new tax legislation coming in,
Mm,
you probably saw at Accountex a couple of years ago, there was lots of stuff around making tax digital. If that is coming in next year, there's potentially a market for kind of allowing other people to access what we do. But for
mm.
now, it's just for us.
Okay. Nice. Did you raise money for this new activity?
We did, yes, yeah.
Nice. How much? Is it public or no?
It's in the millions.
Okay. Nice. So you create, it's like a new company, but to serve your accounting firm. And what is really important for me, it's you don't serve your client at Mazuma are not like tech savvy. They
No,
are like the safe employment.
yeah,
Oh, nice. So
yeah,
you can do this kind of services even
yes,
for these people, because in France sometimes accountants, which name is expert comptable here, say to me, okay, you can't work with these kind of people. They don't want
yeah.
digital, etc., etc. But you are the contrary. You are the example of the contrary.
Yes, and we recognize that often accountants do not want to work with those clients,
Yeah.
exactly like you've just said. So, because of that, there is a market
Mm,
for us to go into. And if we can find a way, then, and the reason that other accountants don't want to work with them is because they are not digital. They're not tech savvy, which makes them hard to work with, which means that you don't make as much profit, you don't make as much money out of them. And so it's easy, especially if you're a small firm and you have very limited time, you have limited resources. It's the right thing to do, to decide who your perfect customer is and only serve them. It's what I'd advise other accounting firms to do, is to only serve your customers that you can serve really well. It happens to be that our customers that we serve really well are the customers that most other accountants don't want. So it works really nicely. We're just working in a part of the market where other people aren't really, there's not an awful lot of interest in it.
Yeah, but you create your own offer, and your offer was on subscription model, like a subscription model for, and it was not digital, because at what I understand, it's like at the beginning it was an envelope, a purple envelope.
Yeah, a purple envelope, yeah.
And they send you all your receipts, and you, okay, and they were not tech savvy, and you say, okay, we are creating an offer which run about technology and new business model, and we sell it to this kind of entrepreneur. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and we still have, that ethos, the thought about how people access what we do. I still think about the sort of person who would have an envelope of receipts, and those are people like my family. Like my dad is a musician, so he is amazing at what he does, but he's got receipts and invoices and rubbish everywhere. He just wants to put it in an envelope and send it in the post and let someone else deal with it. When I'm thinking about the sorts of businesses that behave like that, because regardless of all of the advancements in technology over the last 20 years, the behavior of small businesses has not changed. They behave in the same way that they have always behaved, because they face the same challenges that they have always faced. So I'm thinking a lot about, okay, how do I help those people access good financial information? And that is by making it very easy for them to get their stuff, get their paperwork, get their receipts to us. So that is what I'm always thinking about. And with our technology platform and with the offering from the client side, they can still post an envelope if they want to, but we do the digitalization for them. But also the way they access it online is, it's like an online envelope. So all they have to do is put things into a folder, into an envelope. So most people, even if you are not a technological person, if on your phone, you can probably still put things into a folder. That's all we ask them to do. If you can take a photo and put it in a folder, you can use the service, and you'll have access, because we do everything else. You'll have access to all the same information as somebody who's very tech savvy. So yeah, that's how I think about it. How do I get? It's like the democratization of finance.
And the result is for everyone. We can see our financial as simply as we need.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Then do you just about the state of accounting in the UK? You have bookkeeper, you have accountant, and what is the difference, just for us to understand?
So there's definitely crossover. There's definitely what I'd call like bleeding edges. But bookkeepers would typically do the data entry. They would do the day-to-day reconciliation. They would do reconciliation of balance sheet accounts, things like that, VAT returns. An accountant would more likely do maybe advisory, would do the statutory accounts, and would maybe do the tax and things as well. So that's kind of the separation. Lots of people do both. Lots of accountants do bookkeeping, and lots of bookkeepers do a little bit of tax, but that is broadly what the difference is. I know it's very different in the United States.
Yeah.
They talk about bookkeepers and accountants. Again, their definitions are different again, but that's in the UK. That's how we define it.
Okay, and you say advisory, and it's really interesting for me because the first time I was in London, I was like, okay, why everyone is talking about advisory?
I
And
know.
what is really advisory? Because in France, we want to do advisory, we want to do, like we say, conseil every time, but how we market it and how we sell it. And the first time I was in London, in every talk, everyone say, okay, I do advisory, I do advisory. And I was like, okay, how do you do?
Yeah, what is advisory?
What is it?
Yeah, good question. So in the UK, we talk about the difference between compliance, which is what we do. So we don't really do advisory. We are very, what we call, say, compliance driven. And compliance is the things that have to be done to submit your accounting to government bodies. So that's what compliance work is. Compliance work is traditionally difficult to charge a lot of money for, because clients don't see the value in it. And because in the UK, they are allowed to do it themselves. They could try to do it themselves, and they can try to submit themselves if they want to. I don't know, it's the same in France. But so they can do it themselves. They can go onto the government website and submit their own information. So because of that, clients tend not to see the value within it. So it's very hard to charge a premium price for it. So in the UK, then people have kind of started branching into advisory. And this is kind of aligned with especially the popularity of cloud software, Zero, QuickBooks, those kinds of things, Free Agent. The popularity of those softwares mean that lots of accountants are saying, okay, well, bookkeepers or the clients can do the data entry and the bookkeeping, and we, the accountant, will do advisory. And that advisory extends to forecasting, to tax planning, to helping a business grow, to helping with business plan, to even all the way through to kind of preparing board materials for board meetings and all that sort of stuff, which you can charge much more money for doing. The skill level is a lot higher for that. However, it's very hard if you look at the breakup of businesses in the UK. So in the UK, there are approximately 6 million businesses, small businesses in the UK. 5.2 million of that 6 million businesses have less than 10 staff, less than 10 employees. So they're not going to buy advisory services. So you're only looking at this top section, which is very, very small, and everybody is trying to sell into that section. So that market is very saturated and difficult to access. But everybody wants it. Everybody wants advisory.
When I was really, and in 2023 and 2024, everybody told me, okay, I want to do advisory. I do advisory. And I was like, okay, you do forecasting, and how you sell it, and do you sell it every month, or and
it's very difficult to sell advisory, because you have to, and accountants, again, in my experience, not the best salespeople, because our skill set is in detail and in advice.
We are
Technicians, exactly. And so we're not salespeople naturally. It's not natural for us. And so actually selling based on value, when you sell advisory, you have to sell the future. You're not selling a menu of things that you do. You're selling an outcome that will happen in the future when people put their faith in you. And that's very hard to do, because most people are very uncomfortable doing that. And so I think lots of accountants in the UK really struggle, whilst everybody wants to do it, they really struggle to effectively sell advisory because of that.
D'accord. Okay, I understand. I understand. Okay, nice. And how do you do to sell a premium? Do you sell a premium at Mazuma, or it's really like compliance?
We're very compliance focused, but we
Yeah.
do have different levels of
Okay.
service
Okay.
depending on how much contact people want.
Okay.
And that's a commercial decision. So
Mm,
at the lowest level, they get very little human contact because we lean on our technology.
mm,
They may have come to us and said, "Oh, I don't, I just want my accounts done. I just want my tax done. I'm a
mm,
very simple business. I don't need all this help." And we go, okay, great, bien. We will just sell you the cheapest package,
yeah.
and then uh, if you ring up and you want information, or if you email and you want more information, we have to say to you, you're not paying for it. So if you want this, you have to pay the next package up, or if
Okay.
you don't want it, we're not going to do it. And we have a lot of processes and guardrails to make sure that people are only accessing the services that they're paying for. But then
Mm,
we have 4 tiers. As people go up the tiers in packaging,
okay.
at the premium level, there's more contact with a more senior accountant with more years experience.
Mm,
I don't know if you have this in France. The way I think of it is like this: when you go to the hairdresser, you
yeah.
can choose what level of hairdresser you have. Maybe you have like the junior, or maybe you
Okay.
have like the senior stylist. And the junior, if you just need a little trim, great. Senior stylist, if you want loads of color and all the rest of it, you maybe go for a senior stylist. We've
Okay.
kind of thought of it like that, as in for our cheaper packages, we can use staff who have less experience because it's less complicated.
Mm.
Um, and for our more premium packages, which is more complicated, we can have staff who have more experience. So 6, 10, 15 years experience. And that's how we justify our pricing.
Nice. And are Lucy, are you still working on your client? No.
No, please don't ask me to do any client work. I cannot remember how to
Okay.
do it.
Okay. How many you are at Mazuma?
People,
Yeah.
about 65.
Okay. 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 And so you are actually creating a software, and for you, what is the future with AI in our industry?
So I am in the UK, we call it a nerd, a geek. I'm
Yes.
very nerdy. I really love technology. And so I am very excited by AI. I love I love experimenting with ChatGPT. I love experimenting with AI tools and large language models. I spend a lot of time studying their impact in businesses.
Mm,
Um, I think so at the moment, everybody says they do AI. Every software you see has got a
yeah.
big sticker on it saying AI. Most of them don't do AI. They do what they have always done, which is basic machine learning and interrogation of databases using basic search functions and spitting out a response. That's existed for a long time. We're all calling it AI.
Mm,
Um, but I am excited about AI because certainly for us, we have, let's say, for example, we have 18 years worth of data about the types of conversations that a small business has with an accountant. So we
mm,
can read all of those conversations. They're all in our emails, they're all on our phone lines recorded. We can go and interrogate those conversations, and I can find out from that information, okay, well, what are the most common questions that people are asking?
yeah.
If I know that, we can then build AI that preempts those conversations. And we could know, for example, if you come to us and you are a hairdresser,
Mm,
within your first 6 months of business, you will ask these 3 questions. And we will know that because we have all of the data that proves it. And so we could then use an AI language model, for example,
yeah.
to converse, to have a conversation with that client using AI to answer those questions without having to use a human. So that's really exciting, I think, and that's a good use of it because it's using real ring-fenced historical data of real behavior patterns to provide a service. And what I have always said, and I've said this on so many podcasts, clients just want the quickest route to the right answer. So if the quickest route to the right answer is to pick up the phone and ring you, they'll do that. If the quickest route to the right answer is to ask a question on a chatbot and they get the right answer every time, they'll do that instead. And so if you are trying to scale a business and make a business bigger, you have to think about it. Is all of your clients ringing in every day? Can you scale that? No, you can't. But you can scale AI and you can scale chat, and you can scale other kind of ticketing systems. So that's where I'm kind of excited about how practically how I think AI can help. And there's probably loads of other things it can do, but let's be really realistic.
Yeah.
There is no point going and playing with and buying into all this AI stuff if it just confuses you and your clients. You need whatever it is that you're using to work and actually provide some benefit to your business. And if it doesn't do that, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. But it's so fancy today to say, okay, I have this tool and it's with AI, so okay, you can take it and you can price it
Yeah.
more expensive than if you don't have AI. But for you, how can we continue to value our services with AI? Because if I understand what you mean, it will be like, okay, I have my chatbot in my portals, and I will ask the question, and you already know what kind of question I will ask because I'm a hairdresser or whatever I am. And how can you do to maintain the value of your expertise?
Well, and I think that's the really important question, because this is where accountants have to really think about, are you selling a menu of things that every accountant can do? Every accountant can do bookkeeping and tax and all that stuff and compliance, but not every accountant maybe has your unique background in whatever industry. Not every accountant has seen hundreds of businesses go through the same problem that you're going through. And so we have to think about ourselves and go, do you know what? If everything I do can be replaced by a robot, what is my value? And then you have to think very hard about, where is my value? And it's, this isn't the first time that the society has had this conversation. If you think back to, I mean, neither of us can really remember a world without email, but there used to be a business world without email. And when email, can you imagine? I don't know how anybody got anything done, but the world functioned. And when email kind of came on board, there was a big outcry by postal services saying, well, what are we going to do? Because the email has taken our jobs, and now we see postal services working in a different way. And that's what accountants are going to have to do. If you think a piece of technology can take your job, then you have not created enough value in yourself. So you need to go and create that value somehow.
And it's really important to ask this question right now because it's so fast. So many changes since the 2 or 3 last years. It's amazing, and it's a great question. Maybe I will create a short of this moment for my community and for LinkedIn. It's really important. It's the right question. Okay, what can we do right now? Okay, nice. I really love it.
Yeah, exactly that. You have to think about, AI is coming. AI is here. Technology is coming. Technology is here. If everything you do can be replaced by technology, you have to seriously question your value, and you have to find a way, you have to find things that technology can't do. And what technology can't really do is have this human connection. We are still, even after COVID, when we spent 2 years inside our houses, we still, again, we met at Accountex, we still really value that human connection. That is where you can create value, and accountancy will become about human connection. And I think that there's a question here for the accounting qualifications. and what they teach. I think we can no longer raise a generation of accountants who cannot have a conversation with somebody, who cannot advise. All my accounting exams were all written papers, and we're all just doing exams like that. Not once was I taught how to actually advise and how to engage with somebody during my qualification process. Interestingly, I'm doing, because I'm a sucker for punishment, I'm doing an MBA, I'm doing a master's in business at the moment as well. And in that qualification, you actually do have, you have to do video presentation, you have to pitch things, you have to do that kind of stuff. There's a recognition that business leaders have to have that skill set. We don't see that in accountancy qualification. And I think that the speed, like you said, quickly, like how quick the speed of technology has come on, the accounting bodies and the accounting qualifications have a responsibility to start thinking about what does the accountant of the future look like, and build something appropriate.
I'm really okay. This is not just a wave. This is a new reality for us and for our industry and for our company. And for you, we have the same issue in France of the studies, about the studies. I quit it 10 years ago, but I'm pretty sure that it's already it's still in papers. But for you, how can we change our teams right now? What can we say them? Okay, it's now. You have to change right now. You have to pick your phone, call your customer, call your client, ask them question.
I think we just have to say that. You know, I don't think there's no light way to go around this. Like you said, this is the reality and will continue to be the reality. Just like the internet has been here since it launched and email has been here since it launched, so is this world. And the people who will survive in this world are the people who have the ability to have those conversations and make that human connection. And it is genuinely something that we struggle with. It's a challenge at Mazuma, in that I have a team of accounting staff who were taught to do accounting work and to keep their heads down and keep their eyes forward. And now I'm saying to them, no, I want you to pick up the phone. I want you to proactively reach out to people. I want you to ask them for feedback and say, am I doing a good job for you? What more can I do for you? And that is very uncomfortable for people who have never done it. So there's a responsibility as an employer to train and skill those people. And there's a responsibility in the accounting community to have these conversations and to support one another in the transition into this new world.
Yeah, and it's really important to share what is the best practice, because even if we are accountant or expert comptable in France, we don't learn how to take our phone, how to be proactive, how to really be proactive, because we have a lot of stuff to do. And even tax season, it's like, okay, I don't have time, and see you in May. I will be back maybe in June if I'm okay after the tax, after the person après les impôts personnels. But okay, it's really important to share together. And that's why I have the podcast, and that's why I want to open the chapter of pronation, maybe, because I met you, and I didn't expect to talk about this with you, but you want to share about your community, or it's really important to share in the profession. Can you tell me more about pronation?
Yeah, of course. So this kind of came from myself and a couple of my pronation colleagues who, you know, we've all worked in the accounting industry for a very long time. I think we counted up, like we've got something like nearly 100 years between us kind of working in accounting. And I know that's depressing. So it makes me feel old. But they're both older than me. I do need to say that. So smaller amount.
It's not you. It's Will is older than
Will is much older. Will is much older than me. Yeah. Will and Martin are much older than me. So, but we I talk to Will quite a lot, and we quite often, our firms have grown over a similar time period in different ways, but we're kind of at a similar size as well. And we would share stories of, you will never believe what has happened this week, or, oh, we've got this problem and this has happened. And it's very, very lonely running a firm. It's very, very lonely running a business, because everything is on your shoulders and you have to make the right decisions. And like you just said, that list is so long of things to do. You want to do business development, you want to do advisory, but you've got a list like this of, I've got all of this tax work to do. And so you just never get around to it. And when bad things happen, because bad things do happen, you have a member of your team that doesn't perform, you have a client who has complained, you have nobody to talk to. So I've always found I am somebody who overshares. I share everything. You can't stop me talking. So I speak to lots of other accountants, lots of other business owners about it, and it always just felt like a problem shared. We have a saying in the UK: a problem shared is a problem halved. So if you share your problem, you only have half of it left. So you've shared it with somebody, and I feel like that's really true, in that just sometimes the act of even just saying it out loud to another human means that your problem doesn't seem so big. It's why therapy is so good, because you're just talking to another human about everything that's going on in your life. So I was doing this with Will, and it just seemed he had a kind of small community that he had already. Martin also had a small community, and they approached me and said, look, do you want to do something together? I bring a different perspective to the two of them. Do you want to do something together, which is all about having those conversations with accountants and building a community? And the community isn't about having a seminar about the latest tax change. It's not about having a seminar on some new law that's happened. It's about what is on your desk today. What problems do you have? How do you feel? Like, how do you really feel? Like, are you stressed? Are you okay? And we find that we keep the community deliberately quite small, because we want everyone to trust each other. And we find that people open up and they tell us what is going on in their lives, what is on their desk, what is going on in their business. And then we use the power of the room, of all the people in the room, to help solve those problems. And it's a safe space. It's a way to really let people say all the things that are in your head that you're too scared to say out loud, because they seem like such big problems at 4 o'clock in the morning when you're lying awake in bed. But when you say them out loud to somebody else, suddenly they don't seem quite so big.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, reading that. How many members you are in the pronation?
Oh, good question. I think there's about 50 members or so.
Okay.
Yeah. So we keep it quite small. We have monthly online meetings, so it's 90 minutes every month. We're starting to do some face-to-face events now with people, but the idea is to keep it deliberately intimate, so that people know each other.
Yeah, and the trust is really important in this kind of the community. Okay, nice. I have kind of the same community with my clients, which name is Accounting Business Club.
Cool. I see it on your microphone.
Yeah, this is the name of the podcast, and this is also the name of our community. And we do same like you, like it's a 60-minute visio every month, and once a year we do like a seminar, but it's not a technical seminar, and that's why it's important for me. It's not a technical seminar. It's like, okay, we are going like an offsite to think differently than in our pieces, and we share about what will be the next big things in our industry, and how can we manage this problem or this RH problem. Okay, nice. I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. If you have to start again, Mazuma, what will you change?
Oh, great question. So am I starting again with all the knowledge that I now have?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, great, good, okay, brilliant. Otherwise, I'm just going to make all the same mistakes again. So I would definitely think about building for scale sooner. So I'd think very carefully about the structure of
Mm,
the organization. So we're actually at the moment doing a bit of a review of, do we have a structure of people in our organizational
okay.
diagram that
Yeah.
will let us scale, and unpicking that from where you've kind of, when you organically grow, you kind of oh, there's so much work, I'm going to hire a person to do that, and oh, there's more work, I'm going to hire a person to do that, and you
Mm,
don't necessarily think about,
mm,
okay, in 5 years time, is this going to work? And the reason we don't think about that is because it's quite, you have to be very confident to think in 5 years time we're going to be twice the size we were now. You have to be very confident and be quite willing to take a risk about, you might have to hire people who cost more money
mm,
in the first instance. But I would do that if I was starting again. I'd think about the structure for how you scale it up, and I'd think about how all those reporting lines work, and be very, very clear on what people's job roles and descriptions are.
mm.
I would start developing technology sooner. I
Okay.
would do it sooner than we did because it's going really well. And I would bring that technology function in-house sooner. I would
Mm,
also raise money sooner. I'd have raised
okay.
money much earlier, knowing the power of what that can do for us as a business.
And you raised money for your software, not for your accounting, not for your practice. But
It's it's all in one place. But yeah,
yeah,
the software is for scaling and for growth and for
yeah.
mainly building the
Okay, okay.
software.
Nice. So even if for your practice you will raise money.
Yeah, I'd
Mm.
raise money. Yeah,
Ah, nice, 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 nice. Okay. And what is your biggest challenge for the 5 next years?
great question. I think for us, we're a company that is growing quickly. And over the last year, we are nearly twice the size we were 18 months ago in
Okay.
terms of people and kind of scale. I think that our biggest challenge, and it's one that I never had on kind of my risk register,
Okay.
is culture, is having the cultural piece for getting people to work well together in
Mm,
a scaling company. And the people who enjoy the world of scaling and all of those challenges
mm,
are not the same people who like to sit still and just do what they do every day. Um, and recognizing that. So culture is going to be a huge challenge for us as we scale.
mm,
And one of my big things is this ability to have honest and direct conversations with people when anybody starts working for the company, and if they fall at all into my management, I
mm.
have a conversation with them and I say the most difficult thing about working at Mazuma is working with me, because and I tell them straight off, I am a nightmare, because it's
I,
true, Sophia, it's
I said
true.
exactly the same to my team yesterday again. I was like, okay, I'm sorry. It's my fault. I know it's hard to work with me. Okay, so it's
Yeah,
good for me.
well, how to say it? Je suis une personne très difficile.
Right.
I'm a very difficult person. So I and I say that before they start working, so that
Mm,
when they do start working with me and we ever kind of butt heads, I remind them and say, remember I said
yeah.
I am very difficult to work with.
I told
Um,
you. It's not a surprise.
it's not a surprise. Now this is your problem, not my problem. But actually, I think that kind of friction in a
Mm,
company can be very productive. And I don't like it when we have meetings when I see that there are two people who I know have beef. I know that they are kind of like, you know,
mm.
not getting on. And in the meeting, they're very nice to each other and everything's great. And I sit there and I go, do you want to have a discussion about something? Do we want to? No, 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 it's fine. It's like, are we sure we don't want to just put this on the table now? No, everything's fine. And then people leave this meeting and go and complain elsewhere. Culturally, I want to get to a place where people are free to challenge me. And it's very interesting in my senior team, in my exec team, my CRO and my CTO are both very comfortable challenging me. We sometimes have kind of, back and forth. And I think if somebody was to walk past the room and hear that, they'd be quite shocked at kind of the level of passion that we kind of have between each other. But what we do is we align, we get it all out, we align, and we're all friends outside the room. I think culturally, if you're going to scale a business, and it's all about psychological safety. So like your husband, your wife, whatever, your partner, you can have, if you're in a psychologically safe relationship, you can have an argument with that person and not be terrified that they're going to leave you, because humans are nuanced and complex. And so you can have an argument and not be scared they're going to leave, which means you can have a good argument and you can get these things done. It's the same in a business. You need to feel psychologically safe to be able to have those difficult discussions with other people, which means that you can then be productive, and you don't live in a kind of place of false, artificial harmony. And culturally, especially in the UK, because people are very polite here. Like we don't like people in the UK don't really like arguing. I quite like arguing, but most people don't. It's very hard. It's very, very difficult to do that. And I think that's going to be a huge challenge for us moving forwards.
And how do you do to create this? So you see the problem, or you see the necessity to create the culture, and how will you do to create it?
I think it's about showing people. So I like to, I lead by example. I don't expect my team to behave in any way that I don't behave myself. I try to, and I'm not perfect, but I try to model the sorts of behaviors that I would be happy to see in my team. And that involves having a direct conversation, having a direct challenge, calling something out in a team setting if you need to, where there's accountability. I think a lot of the time, definitely in the UK, people don't like being called out in a team setting, but sometimes if it's appropriate, we have it in the sales team. Everyone can see everyone else's performance because they have their targets. You can run a graph, you can see it. That should exist in the accounting team as well. Everyone can see ups and downs and what people have done for the day, look at all the data. And if someone is consistently not performing, you have your team meeting and you say, Alexis, why haven't you done as much work this week? What's the reason? But not from a combative way. It's in a way of saying, can I help? Is there something you need to let me know about? Is there a reason? What's taking your time from that? And when you do that and you show people that if they do that sort of thing, they're not going to get fired. They're actually, the result of that is that you move forward in a better way. I hope that will quite quickly change, but I think it's all about modeling the correct behavior and then being consistent with it.
Yes, we are together. We are in the same ship. We are a team, and we have
absolutely.
To discuss. Okay,
absolutely.
Really. Love it. And for you, what is the biggest challenge for the industry in the 5 next years?
So it's going to be technology, but not in the sense of AI and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be allowing people or encouraging people to not chase the next shiny thing that appears and to implement. So I'm going to say implementation is the challenge. As you saw, there is so much. You go to Accountex, there's just hundreds of different vendors, so much you can choose from, and every single one of them promises you that they will change your business. You cannot sign up to all of those things. You can maybe take one piece of new technology a year and implement it, integrate it, test it, iteration on it over and over again until you find out whether it works or not. You can maybe do 1-2 of those successfully a year. So that is going to be the challenge for the industry, is empowering accountants to say no to things and to go, no, I don't need that new piece of technology. I'm going to focus on what we do have now. Or quite often, accountants don't realize that their technology can do more than what they are using it for. So the challenge is going to be to work with their existing vendors and find out what more they can do before going to buy something else. And then using that to really efficiently deliver service to clients. And then alongside that is the empowerment of accountants. The more technology exists, the more that people are fearful of the new world, the more they need to be empowered to charge more money for what they do, to sell the advisory service, to be confident doing it. I think that I think we're going to see a big shift in the next 3 to 5 years in that. I hope so anyway.
Yeah, I hope so too. I really want to know right now why there is so few women in this industry, and why is it so hard to be an consultant in the industry.
So obviously I can only speak from my kind of experience
Yeah.
in the UK. But certainly in the UK, when I started Mazuma, I was 23 years old. So I was still very, very young. And I was young and I was a woman. And it was an industry that is very, still is, certainly at senior level, very, very male dominated. As a woman, and there's lots of studies that support this, you have to be so much better than your male counterparts just to get the same opportunity. And part of that is how we teach girls and boys from being very small about how they talk about themselves. Boys are taught to be adventurous and daring, and girls are taught to be quiet and not make a fuss. And that, if you're taught that from being 5, 6 years old, that will go all the way through. You hold those lessons, and that'll go through to how you feel as an adult. Lots of women suffer with imposter syndrome because they don't feel worthy of being in the position that they're in. That's one reason. The other reason is, and I'm going to call it here, is the way that a lot of the accounting qualifications are set up. So ACCA, for example, in the UK, you cannot be self-employed and study ACCA.
Okay.
Lots of women move into bookkeeping because they've had a family and they want flexibility, and so they go in and they do bookkeeping. Well, if they want to go to the next stage and do tax and accountancy, maybe they want to study ACCA. They currently can't because they're self-employed, so they have to choose between studying or working, and at that point you have a family and you're working, you just end up not doing it. That's a literal barrier to entry. It's literally they're not allowed to do that. And we see that the pay difference between people who are chartered versus people who are qualified is different. So if then they maybe book kept for a few years and then they went later on in their career to go and work for somebody else, because they don't have that chartered qualification, there's still a discrimination against people who don't have chartered qualifications in the same roles. So that happens. And it's also I think it's hiring practice. So you find that change only happens when things are legislated for. And in larger companies where they're forced to publicly display their gender split between men and women, you find that change happens because they're shamed. They have to put it out into the world. At kind of lower tier companies, you don't see that. And we all do this. We are all biased. We all have a bias, and we tend to hire people who remind us of ourselves in all ways, in how we look, in how we talk, in our energy in that kind of frequency you have between people. We tend to just vibe and get on with people, and we'll build chemistry with people who are like ourselves. And so if you have a firm that is all men, you will probably end up hiring a lot of men because that's what you have. And until we kind of have to address that and proactively hire people who aren't looking like everybody else, we won't fix it. And there is change, but it is very, very slow. And I think it's something that's even more pertinent now when you see what is happening in America and you see the DEI programs being rolled back. We're going to see a backslide in the United States for equality because of that, because companies don't have to display those results anymore. And in the UK, I think our government is a more left-leaning government than or definitely more left-leaning than the United States. And so we'll be okay for now, but there is always that risk. Our rights are precarious, and that's why I talk about this a lot, and it's why I put myself out there. And I'm old enough now, and I've been around long enough to be able to stand on a stage and call this out. I couldn't have done that 15 years ago, but I can now, because I've got the grey hair and I can stand there and I can have that conversation. And I think I feel like I have a responsibility as a woman who has got further than a lot of women have, and has had the energy. I don't have children. Let's not pretend that the fact I don't have children means that I have more energy and time to do this stuff. So because of that, I feel a responsibility to call this out and to talk about it whenever I can. And I love that you asked me about it.
Yeah, because when I saw your talk, it's like, okay, you are a role model. It's really important. And what can, because we have 4 minutes left. Yeah, what can we change right now in our industry to say, okay, woman, you can come and work with us. It's not like, okay, you will work long hour, you will stay behind your computer, and okay, come with us.
Yeah, so the first thing is to think about your recruitment, how you hire people is, and where you put those job adverts out. So if you find that you only have men applying for your job adverts, you can't sit there and go, oh, but only men applied. You have to think, why did only men apply? And that is probably a problem with your recruitment. So what's very interesting is we've seen this in our sales team at Mazuma. The previous manager of the sales team was male, and my entire sales team ended up being male. And I always just used to get told, oh, but there's more men in sales. Sales is a very male dominated space. Now we have almost an equal split of men and women in the sales team, because I started looking at it and going, no. Like this, this isn't true. There are lots of women who can sell. They don't sell like men sell, but they still sell well. And actually, they're some of our top performers at the moment. So we changed where we put our job adverts out. And we also, I'd also recommend taking any ability to see gender out of your sifting process. So when you have your applications, anonymize them, and you can get companies to do this. It's not very expensive. Take people's names off them, so you can't tell what gender they are, and you can't tell any of that stuff. And that means that you will instantly not have a bias. There's a fantastic example of this from the I think it's the New York City Orchestra, where in the 70s they used to say, but men are just better musicians, we're hiring all the orchestra was male because they come in and they play better. Then they just put a screen up so that the people listening to the audition couldn't see who was playing, and now they have almost 50-50 men and women.
Nice. It's like The Voice before The Voice.
It's The Voice before The Voice, exactly. The Voice for classical music, yes. And I think none of it, it's really uncomfortable to sit there and go, I'm biased, but we all are, and that's okay. And your early attempts at doing this are likely to be very clumsy and not finessed, but make the effort. So number one, the first thing you can do is just make sure that your hiring practices are fair and that you are giving yourself every opportunity to not be biased. And if you can do that, if you can get people as far along your hiring process as possible before you know what gender they are, perfect, because that means you're likely to make a much more informed choice and actually you're really going to base who you hire on skill and ability rather than an unconscious bias that you might have.
Nice. Really love it. Lucy, where can we, do you want to add something?
No, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much. It's been great. If anybody's listening, please do find me. I'm on LinkedIn quite a lot. So I'm Lucy Cohen. I'm on LinkedIn. You'll notice the stripy hair. So yeah, feel free to reach out and find me on LinkedIn. I'd love to meet you guys.
Yeah, and will you be at DAS Digital Accountancy Show in April?
I will be at DAS, yes. I thought you were going to ask me about Fab, but I'm actually going on a week Saturday. I'm racing a rickshaw across Goa to raise money for women's charities for a week. So I'm racing 1,000 kilometers across India
Okay.
to go and raise money. So I won't be at Fab, but I will be at DAS and I will be at Accountex.
Okay, nice. So see you the 1st of April.
Yes, we
In
will.
London.
Yeah,
Yeah, I will be there. It will be
lovely.
awesome, for sure. Thanks a lot, Lucy. Really,
Thank
I really enjoy it. And see you in London. And maybe call me when you come in Paris and
I will. Yeah,
do a new episode.
it was so tempting to come to Paris to record this, but my diary didn't allow it. But next time I'm in France, I will come to Paris and I'll come and say hello.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
Lucy.
Merci beaucoup.
Bye bye.
Au revoir.